going to read part of a book today to you about climate. Now, if you are at school right now, this book is in your teacher's fourth grade library, classroom library. So perhaps you could take a look at it. And if you are at home, you could probably search online and find some other good climate articles or read alouds online. But this one, I want to read to you because today we're going to talk about the differences between weather and climate. And we've been talking a little bit about weather this week. We've learned about the different weather instruments. We've learned a little bit about air pressure and atmospheric pressure and changes in weather. We're going to talk even more about this next week, but it's very important that you understand the differences between weather and climate, okay? So weather we've talked about this week is the day-to-day temperature and precipitation. So today, outside, what is the temperature? And is it raining? Is it cloudy? Is it sunny? Those things are weather, and that changes all the time, right? Especially here in Georgia. We could have 80 degrees this week, and next week it could be in the 40s, right? It can really change. So climate is a little bit different, all right? So I'm going to read parts of this book to you. And if you notice, this is a great nonfiction text. We have a table of contents here. I'm going to read about weather versus climate and then climate zones. And then I'm just going to let you look at some pictures and give you a little bit of information about some different climates around the world. So weather versus climate. What clothes will you wear tomorrow? Will you bundle up in a scarf and a sweater? Or will you wear shorts and sandals? Weather determines the clothes you wear on any given day. Weather is the state of the air outside at a certain time and place. But what if you want to predict what you'll be wearing in the next few months? You'll want to know what time of year it will be, and you'll want to know where you will be. Climate is the weather pattern found in a specific place over many years. So fourth graders, climate is a pattern of the way an area is over a long period of time. So weather is day to day and changes. Climate does not change much over many years, okay? So here's a cool website you could go to. Check out how weather in the past can help predict future climate changes. It is www.oldweather.org. You might want to check that out. Climate affects the health of people, plants, and animals. It even affects the quality of the soil, the air, and the water. If we want to know what the climate will be like in the future, we need to understand what causes changes in the climate. Scientists often compare Earth's climate to the past. This helps them understand how the climate is changing, and it helps them predict the changes that might occur in the future. So here's a cool little graph, and it says using computers. Scientists use computers to analyze data and predict how climates will behave. They enter past weather conditions into the computer. If the results match what really happened, the program may help predict what can happen in the future. Many things play a role in climate. Wind has a big job. The direction it blows and the amount of moisture it brings affect climate. Little wind with low moisture makes for a dry climate. Mountains influence climate too. They force air to rise. This creates moisture, resulting in a wet climate on one side of the mountain, but it creates a dry climate on the other side of the mountain. The world's oceans impact climate as well. They add moisture to the air. Oceans can also absorb and store heat from the sun. This affects air temperature. Scientists take into account all of these factors and more when describing an area's climate. They analyze the weather data. They look at the amount of rain and snow. They also look closely at the plants that live in an area. Plants can tell scientists a lot about a climate. So can the local animals. All right, so this is interesting. This is called a rain shadow. A rain shadow is a patch of land that has become a desert because mountains block rainy weather. As air rises up the side of a mountain, moisture is squeezed out. When the air falls on the other side, it is dry. How cool is that? Okay, so this I think is really interesting. This talks about different climate zones. So here is a map of the world, right? And you learned about this last year in third grade when you learned about the northern and southern hemispheres and the eastern and western hemispheres, along with the equator and the prime meridian. Okay, the world is divided into different climate zones or areas. There are three main groups of climates: low latitude climates, mid mid-latitude climates and high-latitude climates. These groups, are named for their closeness to the equator. So if you remember from third grade, this is the equator. Low-latitude climates are closest to the equator. So that would be these in orange right here. They are temperate. Oops, I'm sorry. Nope, that's not right. Sorry, low-latitude climates, which are the orange ones, are tropical. This means they tend to be very warm. Mid-latitude climates are further away from the equator. So this is the light green here, and you can see the United States is in this mid-latitude climate zone. They are temperate. This means they are not too cold or too hot. These are mild climates. And then last, we have the high-latitude climates, which are the furthest away, sorry, I don't know if you can see that, these purples, from the equator. They are polar or Arctic regions. This means they are very cold. This group includes the North and South Poles and other frosty locations. Within each of these groups are little groups of climates. Let's look at these climate zones more closely. So I'm just going to scan through these for you, and we're also going to learn more about why it's colder in different parts of the Earth in just a few weeks when we start learning about the moon. All right, so low latitude climates, these are the ones that are closer to the equator. Those are the tropical rainforests. And remember, those tend to be hot and humid, and they do have rainforests there. The savannas, this is also a hot, dry climate. You might see these in Africa. All right, deserts is another hot and dry climate area. We have some of those here in the United States. There's other deserts across the world. All right, then those mid-latitude climates, those are the ones like the United States that are a little bit further away from the equator, and they're nice and temperate, so not too hot, not too cold. We don't have very extreme winters or extreme summers. The weather tends to be mild. These are the grasslands. We have the Mediterranean, which we learned about in word study, and isn't that a beautiful place? They have a beautiful climate as well. All right, deciduous forests. That's another moderate climate area. All right, then we have our high latitude climates. These are the extreme ends of the planets and the very coldest climates. You might think of something like this. We have the tundra. Look at these awesome beluga whales, the frozen water. We have penguin poop. All right, I have to read that. When scientists learned that some penguins only nest on rocks, not ice, they had an idea. They worked their way across Antarctica, digging through bones, feathers, and dirt to find ancient penguin poop. The scientists recorded where each piece was found. They think these areas were rocky in the past. Their research shows that the climate has changed in Antarctica over the last 45,000 years. Can you imagine growing up and being a scientist and studying poop? How interesting is that? All right, climate change is another thing that happens and that humans have a role in, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that later. But I just wanted to kind of give you an introduction to climate here with this book. Again, it is in your